Hey everyone, welcome to SEO This Week, episode number 5, version 2. All right, so this week we are going to go over some internal link placement, GMB stuff, or Google Business Profile, and a little bit of deep URLs, like how to make those structures and does it even matter. All this and more on SEO This Week.
Monday morning motivation. That's what the fuck this is right now. All right, look, man, wake up. Wake y'all asses up. And not only wake up, but wake up with the mindset of being better than you were last week. If you wake up this week and you're not trying to be better than you were last week, then go back to fucking bed. Lay your ass back down. People always ask me what I hate. I don't hate much, but there's one thing that I do hate. The one thing that I do hate is a talker. A person that talks about what they're gonna do constantly. I'm about to do this. Hey, man, you know what I'm gonna do? Hey, wait till I do. Stop talking. Just do it. Actions speak louder than words, man. Don't nobody wanna hear no hypotheticals all damn day. Take your hypothetical almost could have happened but didn't do it ass and go sit down. Be a doer. Go shock somebody, man. Show up with results. Are you that type of person? If not, man, then try to become one. Message over.
Yo, up early on this beautiful Sunday morning, getting it in. While running, I had somebody stop me and say, Kevin Hart, why are you working out so hard? What are you training for? The answer to that question was not a goddamn thing. I told myself I'm training for myself, brother. At the end of the day, I'm in competition with me, nobody else. I make my own records, I break my own records. I'm trying to be the best person I can possibly be. At the end of the day, every day is the beginning of a new day.
Represent hard work, determination, motivation. I think without a doubt, if anything else, by watching me, it's simply an example of hard work pays off.
That's it.
What you put into your craft, you can get out to it if you put 110% into it. And I'm just an example of that.
I'm on my jog right now, and I decided to stop over this overpass so y'all can see cars going north and south. Well, guess what? I go east to west sometimes. You know why? Because I like to break shit up. I'm a groundbreaker. God damn it. If you about this life, then shake shit up. Don't do what they expect you to do. Do the unexpected. That's how winners win. That's how great people become great. Because they do what you don't expect us to do. God damn it, I'm about to shake this bridge up right now. Hustle hard. Motivation Wednesday. Hump day. Succeed. Goddamn win it life. Take over. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, man. This weekend had your boy down. I was sad. I was affected by what's going on in the world. Then this morning I got up and I reminded myself about my gift. My gift is the ability to make people smile, bring people closer together. I said, Kevin, this is where you're supposed to stand up, goddammit. Use your gift. So people, I'm back. I'm back. I'm not gonna mope around. I'm gonna make these people happy in this fucking world. So goddammit, be prepared to smile again. I'm gonna do my justice. I'm gonna do my duty. I'm not gonna let this shit get us down and affect us. I'm back. Smile, damn it. Let's get back to smiling. Let's get back to loving. Let's get back to being positive. Let's not let this shit beat us. I'm gonna lead by example. I gotta step up, and I'm doing it right now. I love everybody. That's all love. Love.
You have no idea the fucking feeling that I have going through my body right now, man. This is a fucking dream come true.
Hollywood has a way of making everything seem like an overnight success. Oh my God, where did this guy come from? Oh, this kid, who is he? Look, he's a massive star. 18 years in the business, you know.
You put in your 10,000 hours.
I put in my time, you know. I got dues that have been paid and paid again and paid one more time after that. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually they came true.
Motivation Mondays, baby. Let's make this week ours. At the end of the day, we can be great, but let's be great together.
All right, there we go. How about that? Let's go. Let's get into this right out the bat without wasting any more time. What do you think? So, SEO this week, the website, it's not doing too bad. Get my way, Ecamm. Showing me two things here. That's new. Alrighty, hold on. Patience with me. Ecamm's got, like, I have my preview window, and then I have it just popping up another window. Get it out of the way because it's bugging me. It's bugging me now. All right, so first off, SEO this week. Let's get over into the news. Deep subfolder URLs and don't matter for SEO, and it's coming from a conversation that John Mueller had with another Twitter poster, and saying that the search engines actually don't care about the subfolders. Basically what it's saying is, let's say you have domain.com and category, and then a subcategory, and then another subcategory after that, and another subcategory after that. It's really, really easy to go a little bit nutso, especially in the e-commerce space. And a lot of the tools actually visualize that, and they're doing the data visualization based off of the subfolders. So you can see this example here. This one goes deep, right? So home page to another page to another page to another page to another page, and then it just keeps on going with the madness. And that actually can get you in a little bit of trouble. And testing has shown that it can. Essentially, you just kind of dilute everything is basically at the end of the day what's going on. So in this example here that I have, the long path data example, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then actually the test page. And it beat out, or it lost to this example too. So basically what I'm saying is, like, test path 1, 2, 3, probably okay. If you're in path 4, 5, and 6, you might need to look at what you're doing with your stuff, because you're going to dilute the value of the page, and it's going to drop rankings. And it's not necessarily that it's a bad thing to do something like this, right? You just be careful that you're not just overly making your URL structure and your folders, and in particular e-commerce, your categories, way too complex for the search engines to understand what the heck is going on. Again, the other paths, like 2, beat out the test domain, beat out the test page, but 4, 5s, and 6s didn't. So there is kind of a point of no return, or for the lack of a better, when you've gone full retard, that you need to take into account when you're doing your URL structures. So this is pretty interesting conversation. I like that story. I like to also be able to point out that these things are not based off of internal linking. It's based off of your URL structure in and of itself, which makes these data visualizations tools handy and then not handy, especially if you're like me, where you don't rely on these. I don't use paths typically for most of my builds. Maybe directories we do it, but for the most part, I'm just using domain, and then the post name or page name is however you want to refer to it. And I'm not using and I'm using interlinking to build my silos out. So my data crawls actually look pretty flat versus other people's who have this pretty built out structure and stuff. Neither way is wrong. Just understand that if you're going for visualization and data visualization and you see a lot of flat stuff, that's why. It's not necessarily because they're not interlinking and they don't have a silo structure, and it's not done in accordance to some hidden standard. It's just that they're not using the URLs to build out their structure. All right, number 2, internal link placement doesn't matter, but it is measured differently. So this is it's a conversation again with John Mueller and another Twitterer, and he's saying that if having different contents of the page and unique page, where the internal links don't necessarily matter. And then there's another video from Martin Spit, basically where he's saying that boilerplate stuff is discounted. So let's think about what boilerplate is. If you have a site-wide footer, site-wide navigation, you have site-wide sidebars, and those links are always the same across the site, then it is ergo boilerplate. So what John is saying is if it's anywhere on the page, it's counted for a thing. And then that is true. It is counted. But John is saying that it doesn't matter where you have it. So let's say you have it in your content versus in your footer versus your navigation versus your sidebar. The link is counted the same way. The contradictory comes when you apply what Martin said, and that boilerplate is reduced because it's boilerplate. There's not as much weight given to that boilerplate thing. So when it comes to those link placement page matter, SIA actually did a test. This 489, and it was done in 2020, where the footer versus the header versus the sidebar versus the end content was all tested, and the end content always beat the rest of those. The rest of them had juice, and they were ranking the page more, and they were pushing all those up above the controls, but they would never beat the end content. So the end content beats your boilerplate, and your boilerplate beats nothing. Is kind of where that's going in the test. And there's a whole bunch more of those internal linking tests inside of SIA. And I just, I didn't do the screenshots of all of them, but it's really interesting. And just kind of think about that when you're building backlinks, because you can, if you put so much effort into getting boilerplate sections, what about your sponsored sidebar links, that kind of thing? Then you might not be getting the value out of that backlink that you could otherwise get if you just did a guest post, for example, and got the end content like that way. So think about that in your backlinks. Think about that when you're building your own links on your website, and that even applies to internal links. So think about that and how you're going to do that. For SEO this week, I'm going to do internal links for now in the sidebar. So those will be boilerplate. They'll be linked, but they'll be boilerplate. So the value of them will be reduced per Martin Spitz comments. But it's better than nothing, right? Remember the test. Boilerplate beat no links, but in content beat boilerplate. So I'm just going to do that. And then as the content on SEO this week grows, I'll actually get more in content links. All right, business profiles showing service areas. I don't know how many people have seen this before. I mean, I think someone showed it to me, but I never really closely paid attention. And then this was pointed out by someone in another group, I believe, is where Facebook. This is where I saw that. It was on Facebook, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I wanted to test and to see if I could spot a correlation in the maps rankings by people who are using these. So I threw out Phoenix SEO, and I just grabbed a map, and they say they have these areas served, and these are specific areas. Like, and this is North Scottsdale. Their areas served actually was a couple other places, like the city of Scottsdale in general, etc. But I wanted to see if this is it's number 2 in Phoenix. This map is number 2 in Phoenix. How are they doing in Scottsdale? Is these helping to overcome proximity? And you see here in North Scottsdale Corporate Center, they're number 4. So they're there, but they're not in the local pack, but they're there. It's still respectable. 4 is respectable. You can do something with 4. But when you break it down into North Scottsdale, the actual town, so versus a shopping center versus a part of the city, they're not even anywhere in the maps. But there are some maps that are filtered out of there too. And if I scroll in and scroll out, I can zoom in and trigger them. But that's as I get closer to, say, being on a North Scottsdale thing versus being in North Scottsdale. So just something to consider. I say we just fill those out, and you can add some stuff and maybe even do some pages on your website to cover these areas, and you may potentially be able to grab some proximity from that. I'm going to test it out. I have a Phoenix SEO map for Digitaleer. and I'll go in and make sure I fill the area sectioned out, and then we'll create some pages for those. As a matter of fact, I already have some pages made. I just don't have the GMB for Phoenix for my agency on those other pages. So North Scottsdale, Tempe, all that stuff. So I'll fill all that out, and then we'll do a little bit of optimization and see if we can't overcome a little bit of the proximity stuff and push these maps specifically across into all of those city locations. I am going to go out on a limb and say that no matter how much work that I do, I'm probably not going to rank the Phoenix map in Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa, etc. Because of the proximity rules, and two, I don't have exact matching words in my GMB business name either. It's literally just Digitaleer. It's just my agency. So I think I'm probably not going to see any results, but I mean, keep the faith. You never know. Maybe I can knock it in the top 10 on the maps, and I think I'll be happy with that. At least it's in the maps, right? And we'll see how that goes. What are your thoughts on that? And especially you map guys, you have any insights into the area served, how to leverage that? Should you have matching pages on your websites, etc.? That'd be all interesting to hear. And this one, I didn't actually do an article on this, but I just want to point this out as a study on Zippy, ZYPPY, zyppy.com, and it's a 81,000s. It's done by Cyrus Shepard. He's actually really good SEO. He doesn't talk out of his ass like a lot of us do. So I thought I'd share this, and in particular the character range. It's a number of characters, the character range in your title tags that you want to go for to limit the amount of rewriting. So 51 to 60 characters, and you can limit the amount of rewriting based off of his testing here, which is still less than 50%. And then there's some niches where they're just rewriting all of them, regardless of the characters you got. So you have to take that into account. And he also offered a possible solution to getting them Google to stop doing it, and that was having your H1s and your title tags the same. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with this example. I mean, it's an example clearly, but if you're doing this where you have your business name in your title tag, then you probably don't want to do that on your H1s. But again, this is just an example. So this is definitely worth the try. It's worth a shot. My title tags and my H1s are generally the same anyway, and have been for a long time. I wanted to match just the title tag for the search result, this title tag for the browser, and the H1 is the title for the page. So it all just seems to make sense to me in workflow and just common sense. Really, have those both the same. So that's kind of how I'm handling that. I do want to do a test where I have some hidden H1s. So let's say Google is changing my titles anyway. I'll do some hidden H1s of different versions for different, if I see, let's say I'm getting, drug rehab Dallas, and the keyword or addiction treatment Dallas, and that page is still ranking for both, but they're pulling some addiction treatment content out of my page to rewrite the title for the addiction treatment ranking. I want to have some hidden H1s and see if that actually if they pull those H1s for the different variations of keywords and different types of searches. So that'd be pretty interesting to see. So we'll see how that goes. Alrighty. So this is good. So check this out. It's zippy.com, zyppy.com/blog. And then you can see this. We studied 81,000 page titles, or just search for that. And I think you'll be all right. Let's go next. What's next? I wanted to talk about the Publisher Center. This is Google News. And as you know, part of this whole process in the revamping of the show was we actually carry through getting this site inside of Google News, building the traffic up, monetizing it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The next evolution is actually probably get to apply for the Google News section. So you can do that on publishercenter.google.com. I'll say that there are a lot of people who talk about Google News right now. There's a lot of people who have a lot of Google News sites, or they've created sites and got them into the Google News thing. And I think that the sign that Google has reduced the barrier to get approved into Google News is probably a sign that this program is really not as important to Google as they thought as it used to be. However, there is still some value into it, especially if you're doing an information site like I am, versus just getting a whole bunch of websites and getting them in Google News and thinking you're hot shit, right? So Google News, the benefit of Google News is the posts and stuff get indexed pretty quick. We have a news section on SEO-ld.com/news, and that category, and only that category, is inside of Google News, and it publishes to Google News, and I have a writing team over there, and they're pumping out 3 to 4 articles a day about SEO news related stuff, and that's working very good for us. But we're not creating a network of 20, 30, 40 news sites and not doing anything with it. These are monetized. SEO Intel is obviously monetized by the agency, by the membership program, right? SEO this week's going to be monetized, and we'll walk you guys through that, where we're going to do probably some ad placement. I haven't decided yet if I want to go like, say, Ezoic versus Google News straight off, or Google AdSense. Ezoic makes a lot more sense to me because I can leverage some of their ad choice stuff. But we'll check that out. I'll also be using some monetization for SEO Intel, obviously. So SIA, want to grow that a little bit. Sell a little bit of rank gear on there and that kind of stuff. So we're going to check all that out. Maybe even do some affiliate stuff, but we'll see how that all plays out in the end. So you guys will be able to follow me along with that. So I just kind of want to get you understanding where we're going. And I think the next one is going to be Publisher Center. This is actually, the system is really good. And I'm doing this in front of you guys because really where it starts out is publishing name, the website, and then the location. And then you fill in some logo stuff, you do a description, you give it the RSS feed that you're using. And once you have that all in place, you're all set. The RSS feed I'm using is going to be pushed out of here, and this is SEO Press Pro, Google News, and I just turn on the sitemap and then go, and I can submit that if I wanted to. I could do RSS. I can mess with this if I wanted to. I have all this stuff turned on. Let me turn off this stuff. I don't need this. Articles, I don't need that. And I'll save changes. Okay, just because I was in there. So the sitemap is not necessarily used all that much with Google News. As a matter of fact, with SEO Intel, I don't even think we have it submitted to the Search Console. It's the RSS feed, your Google News RSS feed. And so with SEO Intel, we actually had to make a feed specifically just for that category. With SEO this week, the entire website will be in Google News. So I don't have to do that, which is good. And we just rely on the RSS feed for the site, and that'll be thrown in there. So that's where we're going with that. Instant indexing. I don't know if you noticed, but SEO Press users is putting the Google API in there now, and they've done the Index Now API too. Google indexing for with the API. Remember, I tested that; it was working great. Everything was getting indexed, and then Google turned the filters on, so you had to have the 2 required schemas. But there have been reports that they removed that. There have also been reports that Google is having problems with their indexing system. So what I mean by that is they are saying that their workload of what is coming in is exceeding the resources that they have in place for indexing. So I don't know if you guys are all going to see a whole lot of benefit out of having those indexing APIs turned on. Rank math users, I mean, they've consistently said that they are going to they're going to Jesus, sorry. Rank math users have said that it's working for them consistently. I don't know that they actually tested it. Is it like, I have it turned on and I check my stuff a week later and it's there? I mean, I'm seeing consistent natural indexing on real sites within a week anyway. So how do we know that that's working or not? And that's definitely a test that I got to do again. The index now thing is really for Bing and Yandex. Those two are pushing that. Google is thinking about index now, and I don't anticipate, honestly, them jumping on board. I mean, they already have their own API key. Why would they leverage the one for index now, unless they want to reduce some resources and stuff? So we'll see how that plays out. All right. So what else do I have? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I wanted to, I know what I did. I wanted to have you guys take a look at Rate Gear. We got some of that fixed. I don't know if you remember, I did the featured article here, and it's really, we're just doing videos for that, and I was messing with the schema. We changed that. So captions, thumbnails, transcripts, well, he's supposed to change it. He hasn't changed it yet. We're trying to get this updated so that you can add the actual legit video object stuff. All this stuff is in there for video. We want to do the one for video object. So we have to play around with this a little bit more. Right now, you can still add stuff in here, like the content URL, image URL, publisher logos, all that stuff that's required. But that's still a work in progress. The other thing is, some of you were letting me know that you were getting error messages. So you try to save and then an error message would come up. Technically, that's your fault. It's not ours. What that is the cookie for security reasons, for account security reasons. The cookie is set at 24 hours. So if you start writing your schema, walk away, and then come back tomorrow and hit save, it's going to throw you an error because your cookie is expired. If you get that error anyway, it just means that the cookie expired on your browser, or something you had cleared off the cookie, etc. So best practices for yourself to kind of just avoid that madness is to keep saving and keep engaged with it. And if you're done with it and you want to come back to it later, push save and then just close out and then come back later. And that'll save you any dramas out of that. All right, what else? What else do we have? I think that's it. Cool. All right, questions. Let's see. I have a question from Jeff. He started it off early. So, do you have any advice on using press releases for SEO? Actually, it's a good question. So press releases have continued to be a decent way to promote your content or new happenings with your business, etc. The downside is that SEOs, because thinking from a link building perspective, they just put a whole bunch of press releases out and it ends up being trash. So a lot of the services and stuff, even the ones that I like magicpr.net and Cision, which is former PR Newswire, the quality have gone down significantly. Syndications are reduced. The amount of sites that are on their publisher's normal pathway versus, like, for example, Cision, you used to be able to run a PR, cost me $200 and I get 300 backlinks out of it. Now I'm lucky to get 100. Just because Google or Cision and their publishers have, it's not so much that they've tightened it up. They're just like, no, we don't really care anymore. They're not putting out news or putting out article stuff. So you have to be take that into account when you're using PRs for SEO. Only rule of thumb that I like to use is anchor text is always brand only in press releases. And if you are going to have or pay for a service that does backlinking to your PRs, you need to make sure that you positively trust that their team is actually selecting the right backlinks. And it's not necessarily the right backlinks, but the anchor text. If they're not doing anchor text that's in relation to the where the PR is going, especially on the tier ones and or tier twos and tier threes to your press releases, they could actually dilute the value of that link and change the scope of what the page is about. If you want to know about that, you can check out SEO this week, where I talked about how I accidentally negatively affected a web page on Digitaleer, the Bellevue SEO example that I showed all the time. I was actually not paying attention, and I was building tier 3 and 4 backlinks to that page with anchor text in relation to how to build an engine. Again, it's Bellevue SEO, but I was building backlinks to the backlinks saying that the page was relevant about how to build an engine. And what happened was I was in the top 3 for Bellevue SEO, and those backlinks slowly and steadily knocked it out down to page 3 before I even caught on to what I was doing to my own thing. So I think that you really have to have that conversation with your provider to make sure that the anchor text selection is correct. Otherwise, you could be doing more harm than good with press releases. You can counter that. If you notice that happening, you can counter that and build directly related anchors to your PRs to counter what was going on. But you need to make sure that you stay on top of that continuously. The other one is I'm noticing a lot of services are using syndicators that use 301s. Global Newswire, for example, if you're in a PR, if you have a syndication service that uses Global Newswire as their primary publisher or syndicator, Global Newswire throws Global Newswire 301 redirects onto all of these syndications that they do. So they're doing it for tracking, but it actually reduces the amount of love that your page gets in regards to SEO from that perspective as well. So look into those and come up with a plan to kind of address that madness. So and see if there's there's services that don't leverage 301s particularly. magicpr.net, Madge's service, Global Newswire is publishing on his, but and he's got some 301s, but he also has some of his own news sites, and he has his own website that's a good tier 1 too. So just look at your service and try to make some balancing acts in regards to that stuff. Let's see, Noor finally scoots my time zone. Appreciate it. The studio setup is it. Thank you. I got a little bit more work to do in here, but I'll have it all cleaned up soon. What are your views? Google News Network. I have 10. Well, actually, it's 9 or 8 now because I deleted 2 of them. News sites, and I think it's okay to have a limited amount. If you're doing it and you're buying, let's say 200 or 100 or even 50 just for backlink stuff, I really think you're wasting your time because they're not indexing. I mean, if Google, there's a network that Holly has, Holly Stark. She's got her Holly News Network. I think she's saying like 500 to 5,000 sites. I don't even remember the number anymore, but it's redonkulous. And when I use it, I am lucky to get those pages even indexed. I actively have to go and push to get those pages indexed. They're not doing it on their own. They're not leveraging the actual true power of Google Publisher or Google News. I have to do it. In a lot of her examples, if you notice, like if you ever seen a presentation for her, she'll submit to her network and then go, look, I'm ranking. Well, her network is, if it's 500, even if it's just 500 websites, she's posting to 500 websites, and maybe in her examples, 3 or 4 will show up. So I think there's also a little bit of duplication and syndication and filtering and stuff, but really it's kind of, she created 500 websites, but only 3 or 4 of them are indexing actively. Wasn't really worth the time. So I would advise a regular person to not create a network more than what you can maintain. And typically 10 is kind of the perfect number. So you can create 10 news sites, and you find some people who are, or you offer to publish press releases for people for free. Publishing for free on your websites gets you content, and then you monetize it with a platform like Ezoic or whatever. As your websites get more traffic through your promotion, your link building, or just natural growth, then maybe you can start talking to syndicating services and get into their networks, and maybe get a little bit of money out of actually publishing PRs. But honestly, even me, I'm probably going to keep with the publishing PRs for free model and just monetize the website traffic. It's easier to maintain. You don't have to do as much work, and you leverage those networks for other things like your own backlinkings profiles. But you're doing it on 10 sites that have traffic that'll eventually get authority domain, that are making some money, etc., and they're all paying for themselves. If you have a team that helps you maintain that system, and you can do that with more, you like start off with 10, your system's going, PRs are coming in, traffic's coming in, they're making money, you want to build 10 more, then knock yourself out. But don't go out there and just build 50 to 500 of those things thinking that you're creating a good link network, because at the end of the day, Google's not indexing them, and you're going to have to do a lot of work to leverage those as well as the dream says that you can, if that makes sense. All right, any other questions? I don't think so. I like keeping these shows short, man. I don't know about you guys, but we were doing an hour before, and it's kind of burning me out. But I think that these are updates. System is actually going to work. Next week, the Google Publisher, I'll go through and we'll walk you through that whole thing. It's not hard at all. It's just we just kind of get everything in there and get everything set. You have to go in there, fill out all the information, and then let it see the RSS feed, and then it monitors that for a few days before you can publish. So next week will be a good time to do that. Probably watch the channel during the course of the week. I'm going to do the video schema for the rest of the episodes that I have yet to put in the featured stories section. I'm going to get that done. I'm going to put a little bit more articles onto the homepage where the featured image is, and reduce the amount of related or latest news on the sidebar. And then I want to fix the sidebar up to get some interlinking done on those pages on the news stories themselves. I don't have any sidebar there right now. And having that sidebar will let us get started with the monetization stuff. And then as we go along the rest of this year, will really be about pushing content and promoting that content via link building. So we'll go over some of the link building stuff, just show you what I'm doing, just to, kick the engine off a little bit and let that go. Obviously, I can't show you all of the link building stuff, like specific, this is where I'm doing it and this is how I'm doing it, because some jerk off will send the channel to Google, or some dumbass will ask John Mueller, well, this guy said, and he's linking his website and he's using this PBN, for example, and why is he ranking and I'm not? That's just kind of how the nature that goes. I know I'm taking that risk anyway by pushing off this site. I want to make money with this website. I want to make money with this show. And in order to do that, I got to just kind of stick my neck out there and let it go. It is what it is. Just, bring it. That's all I can say. Bring it. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.